IBM's $34 billion acquisition of Red Hat has closed, and I've got to tell you, it's closed earlier than I expected. I expected later second half. IBM CEO Ginni Rometty and Red Hat CEO Jim Whitehurst are on hand. This is quite exciting because I think this dramatically accelerates. Some people say it only somewhat accelerates IBM's growth rate. I'm going to ask Ginni how much it accelerates because I'm tired of analysts saying it doesn't move the needle. What does it do, Ginni? And welcome to Squawk on the Street.
Yeah, good morning, guys. Yeah, so Jim and I are both happy to be here. And this deal not only does accelerate our revenue, it resets the whole cloud landscape. And Jim, as you know, it's 200 basis points of growth for us, CAGR, 5 years. So it absolutely does accelerate growth. But more important, it's what our clients have asked for. And this is it, the hybrid cloud as the destination architecture for the future. So Jim and I couldn't be happier that we closed this, and it really was record time. And that allows us to get to work.
Yeah, Jim, as you've seen, even our
standalone
growth is accelerated since we've announced the deal. So customers are already validating it with their decisions and commitments they're making even before it's closed.
Well, that's what I wanted to bring up because, Jim, a lot of people felt when this deal was announced that it was expensive. I know I felt it wasn't because the need to be able to be all things cloud is so important to IBM. But in reality, it turned out to be a pretty good price versus the other companies in your area, except for the fact that none of those accelerated the way you did. So can we say that IBM got a bargain, even though I know that you may be able to get in trouble with some of your shareholders?
You know, I've said it all along. I think IBM got a bargain. You know, not only are we growing as fast or faster than most others in the space, we also have significantly higher free cash flow than any of our peers. And so I've always thought IBM got a bargain. I think it's the right outcome for our shareholders, but I think it's a great outcome for IBM shareholders as well.
You know, we always said we thought it was very fair because remember, unlike most other cloud companies out there, Jim's run a really great profitable company. So for us, it's both free cash flow and gross margin accretive in year one.
All right, well, let me get a little aggressive then. Jim Cavanaugh on the January 19 conference call said, I'll remind you, we plan to suspend share repurchases in 2020 and 2021 as we pay down debt for our Red Hat acquisition to get back to our targeted leverage ratio. If cash flow is that good, any possibility that you can be back buying before that?
Well, we're going to prudently stop, just like Jim said we would, and then our goal is as fast as possible, a couple years here, get back to what you'd expect to be the targeted leverage ratio for a high single A. And again, we're strong investment grade. So I feel really good about this. And again, back to what it is that our clients want out there. And Jim, the other important piece I want to stick in there when you just asked that was the really important thing to our investors is this also still allows us to continue with a very solid and growing dividend, which is an important part of the value proposition for IBM shareholders.
Okay. Ginni, could you please give me outline the revenue synergies? How many companies that didn't necessarily do business with you that did with Red Hat? What this means for you in terms of a open source that that everybody can embrace rather than a closed source, which I like, but also does limit growth.
Yes. So think of this, you know, again, back to the press release quotes Ed Bastian from Delta, Morgan Stanley. This is really chapter 2 of the cloud. And many people thought everything was going to just the public clouds. But that's not what clients need. You know, chapter 1, they put a lot of client innovation out there. Think of it as front ends of many systems. But then they bash into these back ends of all their current IT. And that has to be modernized. That's 80% of the workload still out there, mission critical work. So this is going to allow us, and we are the only one that has a hybrid multi-cloud platform based on open source, which really simply means for a client, I have an existing house, I can renovate it piece by piece, I can write something once and put it on any cloud, public or private that I want. So that addresses their skill issue, their flexibility issue, regulations, data, everything. So that really is multi-cloud. So the IBM cloud could be Google, Amazon, Microsoft, private, public, and that's what somebody needs. Now that is a $1 trillion emerging market out there. And so that is what the opportunity ahead is. And that's why there's no cost synergies here. This is really about, we've called it not an integration, it is a synergy for growth case.
Perfect. Now, before I turn it over to my colleagues, Jim, Wikipedia says you're about 52 years old. There's the kind of accuracy I really love. About 52 years old, but you're coming from North Carolina. Symbolic because that's where you are, or does it say you're here to stay? And would you eventually like to run IBM?
Well, look, I've generally found what's most important is find a place you can have the most impact, and career will work itself out. And I'm convinced that this allows Red Hat and what we've done as part of IBM to really be the defining technology company of the 21st century. And I'm excited to play a part in that. So I'm really excited, and I plan to be around for a long time.
And we are going to be, this is really redefining the cloud landscape. And together, Jim and I have talked a lot about this. We're very confident this is the leading hybrid cloud provider together.
Ginni, it's David Faber. Understand your confidence and understand your focus on the organic increase in revenues, but you're sticking with the 200 basis point CAGR over 5 years. Since and during this integration that's taken place since you announced the deal in October, there is some hope that perhaps that number could even come up. Is that still a possibility?
Well, look, we're going to, as you guys know, we have earnings next week, and then very quickly we're going to do an investor briefing. It's August 2nd, and that's where we'll update both 2019, and then, to your question, David, we'll update our midterm.
And finally, one other sort of broader question here, Ginni. I follow 5G, of course. We do very closely in terms of what it's going to mean, broadly speaking, and, of course, for companies like your own. We've got a lot of data that conceivably will move to the edge of the network, and I wonder, does that create an opportunity for the likes of an IBM/Red Hat now to sort of make up ground that's been lost to some of the public cloud companies?
Yeah, a very insightful question. This is a topic Jim and I have not only talked a lot about in the planning, but actually there are a good number of clients out there already that we are working together on 5G. So it's a very important point because when you think of edge, for many people, edge is defined at many different layers. And so that's about putting a lot of processing out there and software-defined network all pulled together. And as you guys know, Linux is that operating system of choice for that.
Yeah, just to emphasize that, I think that's one of the obvious areas we saw day one. We're doing a lot of work with the telcos around 5G and application infrastructure at the edge. IBM is doing the same, and immediately we've had a number of the large telcos around the world really come to us excited about what we can jointly do together. I think it's a really big opportunity for us together.
Yeah.
So stay tuned. This summer, you'll see a lot of announcements.
All right. We know that 5G is something, this is integral. We also know that Red Hat has signed a huge number of million-dollar deals that definitely augments what IBM under Ginni Rometty is doing. I want to thank IBM CEO Ginni Rometty and Red Hat CEO Jim Whitehurst, actually.
Now he's just
senior manager, IBM.
Yeah.
Hey, thank you, guys. Thank you so much for coming on. Appreciate it.
Thanks both.
Thank you.